There is a particular kind of transgression that is almost impossible to articulate in a community built on silence. It is the transgression of wanting. It is the transgression of looking at the life you have been given and thinking that it is not enough. It is the transgression of imagining that there might be something else, something different, something that would make you feel more alive than you currently feel. And when this transgression is discovered, when someone notices that you are not entirely content with the life you have been assigned, the response is swift and all-consuming. My name is Hannah. I grew up Old Order Amish in Holmes County, Ohio. I married at 19 and left at 27. On this channel, I tell the stories that lived behind closed farmhouse doors, and today I want to talk about what happens when a wife is caught wanting more, when her discontent becomes visible, when someone notices that she is not entirely grateful for the life she has been given. The wanting began for me very gradually. It was not a sudden realization. It was not a moment where I woke up and decided that my life was not enough. It was a slow accumulation of small moments, small longings, small recognitions that there were parts of me that were not being expressed, could not be expressed, within the constraints of my life. I wanted to read more. I wanted to learn things that had nothing to do with household management or childcare. I wanted to travel. I wanted to see other places. I wanted to understand how the world worked beyond the boundaries of my community. I wanted, in short, to know myself more fully than the life I had been given permitted. These wants were not presented to anyone. They were not discussed. They were private, internal, the kind of wanting that a woman keeps locked away inside herself because she understands, at a cellular level, that these wants are dangerous. These wants are selfish. These wants are a form of rebellion against the order that has been established, the order that says that a woman's wants do not matter, that a woman's role is to be satisfied with what she has been given, that a woman's fulfillment comes from serving others, not from pursuing her own interests or desires. But wanting, even silent wanting, can be detected, and the way it is detected is through small leaks in the facade of contentment that a woman is supposed to maintain. It is detected in the question asked at the wrong time. It is detected in a book borrowed from a cousin who has left the community. It is detected in a conversation overheard in which a woman admits that she sometimes thinks about what her life might have been like if she had made different choices. For me, the leak came through a conversation with my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law was married to Jonas's brother, and she lived in a neighboring community. We saw each other occasionally, at church gatherings and at family functions. And one afternoon, while we were preparing food together at a quilting, my sister-in-law asked me a question that I should not have answered, but that I did. She asked me whether I ever thought about leaving. She asked it casually, as though she was asking about the weather, but there was something in her voice that told me she was asking something deeper. She was asking whether I was happy. She was asking whether I wanted a different life. And in that moment, with my guard down, I told her the truth. I told her that sometimes I felt like there was something inside me that was not being expressed, that I felt trapped sometimes, that I wondered what it would be like to see the outside world, to read freely, to make my own choices about what I wanted to do with my time. I should not have said these things. I should have known that saying these things to my sister-in-law was like announcing them to the community. I should have understood that my wanting was not a private thing, that once it was spoken, once it was made visible to another person, it would spread. But I was exhausted, and I was lonely, and for just a moment, I wanted someone to understand that I was not entirely content. Within a week, Jonas knew. My sister-in-law had told her husband, who had told Jonas. The conversation had been reframed as a concern. She had told him that she was worried about me, that she thought I might be struggling spiritually, that I had said some things that suggested I was not entirely committed to my role as a wife. She had made my wanting sound like a mental health crisis, like something that needed to be addressed and corrected. Jonas's response was immediate and intense. He asked me directly whether I had told my sister-in-law that I wanted to leave. I said no, I had not said that. But I had said something, and I could see in his face that he knew it. I could see that he was both hurt and angry. I could see that my wanting, my private wanting, was being interpreted as a kind of infidelity, as a betrayal of our marriage, as a statement that he was not enough. What followed was a period of intense scrutiny. Jonas began to monitor my reading. He began to ask me where I was going whenever I left the house. He began to question my conversations with other women. He began to monitor my contact with my sister-in-law, making it clear that I was no longer permitted to spend time with her unsupervised, because she was a bad influence, because she had filled my head with ideas that were making me ungrateful. But more than the monitoring, what was painful was the message I was receiving from the community. Within 2 weeks, I could feel a shift in how other women treated me. The woman who had felt comfortable confiding in me before now seemed distant. The women at church seemed to be watching me more carefully. I had become marked. I had become the woman who was ungrateful, the woman who wanted more than she had been given, the woman whose loyalty to her marriage was in question. My mother came to see me. She had heard, through the community network, that I was expressing discontent. She asked me to explain what I had said to my sister-in-law. I tried to frame it as nothing, as a moment of exhaustion, as words that had been taken out of context. But my mother understood what I was really saying. She understood that I was not entirely content with my life, and she told me something that I have never forgotten. She said, "Hannah, wanting more is the first step toward losing everything you have." She said that a woman who is grateful for what she has been given is a woman who is safe. A woman who is content with her role is a woman who will not be abandoned. A woman who does not desire anything beyond her marriage and her children is a woman who will not be left alone. But a woman who wants things, a woman who imagines a different life, a woman who is not entirely satisfied, that woman is dangerous. That woman is at risk of losing everything. My mother told me that the community's response to my wanting was not punishment, it was protection. It was an attempt to help me understand that wanting was dangerous, that gratitude was safety, that contentment was the only path to stability in my marriage and my place in the community. What I understand now is that my mother was expressing something true about the system, even though she framed it as care. The system cannot tolerate wanting. The system cannot tolerate a woman who looks at her life and thinks that it is not enough. The system is built on the assumption that women will be grateful for what they have been given, that they will accept their roles without question, that they will not desire anything beyond the boundaries that have been set for them. A woman who wants more is a woman who might leave. A woman who wants more is a woman who might recognize the ways she is controlled. A woman who wants more is a woman who cannot be entirely contained. And so, the community's response to a woman who is caught wanting is to make it clear that wanting is dangerous, that wanting will result in being marked, in being watched, in being isolated, in being made to feel ashamed of the very desires that make her human. After I was caught wanting, I became much more careful. I stopped reading anything that was not explicitly permitted. I stopped asking questions. I stopped expressing any desire that was not directly related to my role as a wife and a mother. I learned to perform contentment so well that eventually I almost believed it myself. I learned to push the wanting so far down that I could almost convince myself that I did not want anything at all. But the wanting does not disappear. It just goes underground. It finds other outlets. It expresses itself in small rebellions, in moments of silence where I am not thinking about my husband or my children, but about myself, in conversations with other women where we hint at discontent without ever naming it directly. The wanting becomes the secret that I carry with me every day, the knowledge that there is a part of me that does not fit into the life I have been given, the understanding that I have been taught to hate that part of me. I have talked to other women who were caught wanting in similar ways. One woman told me that she was discovered to have been interested in becoming a teacher, and the community responded by making it clear that such ambitions were inappropriate for a wife and mother. Another woman was caught reading books that were not about household management or religion, and she was told that such reading would fill her head with worldly ideas that would make her unsatisfied. Another woman expressed interest in learning about something beyond her immediate responsibilities, and she was made to feel ashamed for not being entirely focused on her family. What these stories have in common is the message they all send. The message is that a woman's wanting is not legitimate. The message is that a woman should be satisfied with what she has been given. The message is that wanting more is a form of ingratitude and rebellion. The message is that the price of expressing wanting is isolation, judgment, and the loss of community support. After I left, I had to relearn how to want. I had to relearn how to recognize my own desires without feeling guilty about them. I had to learn that wanting was not dangerous, that it was not selfish, that it was actually the most human thing in the world. I had to understand that a person who does not want anything is a person who is not fully alive. What I want to say to any woman in a conservative community who is caught in the space between the life she has been given and the life she wants is this: your wanting is valid. Your desires matter. Your recognition that there might be more to life than what you have been assigned is not a sign that you are ungrateful or rebellious. It is a sign that you are human. The community's response to your wanting is designed to make you ashamed, to make you compliant, to make you understand that expressing desire will cost you everything. That response may be effective, but it is not based on truth. The truth is that you deserve a life that feels like yours, that includes your own desires alongside your responsibilities to others, that permits you to grow and explore and become who you actually are. If you are caught wanting, if you are discovered to have desires that extend beyond your assigned role, if you are made to feel ashamed for recognizing that you want something more, I see you. Your wanting is not a failure, it is a beginning.